Hey everybody, let's talk for a minute about how to create a pivot table in Excel. A pivot table, which you'll also hear referred to as a contingency table, is very useful when we're wanting to analyze more than one piece of information. So to show you what I'm talking about, let me open up a file. We are going to use our chapter 2 um, data file, sorry, from my lab entitled Payment Types. So if you want to follow along and work with me, then pause the video and go to your textbook data sets, chapter 2, and choose the payment types file. Once you get it open, then we're going to click Enable Editing, like always. Can't forget that. I'm going to zoom in my screen a little bit so y'all can see better. So I said that we want to use a contingency table or a pivot table whenever we are analyzing more than one type of data. So notice I've got 3 different columns of information in this file. I've got the customer number, I've got the gender of the customer, male or female, and excuse me, and I have how they paid, cash, debit, or credit. So I've got multiple types of information. And so I may want to use this to provide me information about how many customers in total paid with credit cards. Or I could narrow it down even more and figure out how many females paid with credit cards. So contingency/pivot tables are awesome for creating one table and then being able to get lots and lots of information from it. So first of all, let me show you how we are going to create the table. I'm going to click in any cell that is part of my data set. Excuse me, guys, part of my data set. So I'm just going to click here in B5. It doesn't matter. Then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click Insert. And the far left-hand choice is Pivot Table. So a box pops up and it should automatically have the range for all of my data points. But I just want to be sure, okay? So I'm going to make sure it starts in A1 and I'm going to scroll down, and yes, you can see the little dotted line where it's kind of highlighted it for me. So it does have everything. All I have to do is click OK. It opens up a new worksheet, but there's really nothing on it. So you're like, what's going on here? I have to tell it how to create my worksheet. So I'm going to tell it that I want my payment type to be my columns. I want my gender to be my rows. Now, what would happen if I did this completely the opposite way? It wouldn't matter, okay? I can make gender go under columns and payment go under rows. It does not matter, okay? Your table might look different from mine visually, but it's going to give me the same information. So don't worry about, oh my gosh, what if I don't pick it the way that Miss Dancy picked it? Then for values, I'm going to drag down customer because that's where I want the numbers to go. But wait a second. If you look at what popped up, you're like, well, how can that be wrong? I mean, how can that be right? My original data set only had 20 customers. And now this is telling me my total is like 210. That's normal, so don't panic. That's because Excel's initial, I can't think of the right word, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm struggling. Excel's first command is going to be to add them up. And so that's why they're adding up the customer numbers, and we don't want that. We want it to count the customer numbers. I want it to tell me how many females paid with cash. So it's just 2 clicks to fix it. Click in any cell in your table. I can click in this one or this one or this one. It doesn't matter. just click in one and then right click. Scroll down to where it says summarize values by. We don't want it to sum them. We don't want it to add them up. We want it to count them. So switch that to count and voila. Now these numbers look much more reasonable, don't they? So I have got 2 females that paid cash, 5 males that paid cash. The total number of customers who paid cash would be 7. So that was looking across. I can look up and down my columns to get totally different information. I had 12 female customers and 8 male customers. So I can look at this information based on how they paid or male versus female. So like I said, you could provide all sorts of information just by using a pivot table. If you have any questions, just let me know. The main thing is just remember, after you create it and your numbers are in there, the numbers aren't going to be right. You have to click in a cell inside the table and then right click, summarize by, and change it to count. Hope this answers some questions for you. I will see you soon.